get my homework done maybe earlier on in the week or earlier on in the day. I'd be looking to get that 15-minute window before I go to bed. That's when I'm going to do it. That's when I want to be, when I'm at my most relaxed.
I sort of go by, if it's sort of walking about a bit stiff.
Yeah.
And go on the hot shower.
Yeah. Fantastic, yeah. I mean, it's...
Or rubbing down, but you won't let me do that for long, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I can understand that. I mean, I don't let my mum do it anymore.
No.
So,
Do all the legs, you go, get off, wait 17.
so I hope that answers your question. I mean, I do agree that after a session there should be a cool down, which is fantastic. But there does need to be the players do need to take control of what they're doing at home as well. And if it means getting their homework done quicker, or making their mum do it, or making the dog eat it. I mean, it doesn't matter, but they must be disciplined in making sure that they are managing their body so that they can come back the next day fresh and train as hard as they did the day before. So no matter how many wellness sheets I throw at them and how many jumps they do and how much well planned strength and conditioning periodization we use, if they haven't got the right mindset and the right attitude, then really none of that doesn't matter. They must be doing the basics right, and the basics are being disciplined and being committed, being gritty, and just getting that stuff done.
I think time management is a very, very important factor, not just for an athlete, but just for about anybody who's in any sort of professional function. I mean, so if you know that you've got something to do in the evening, as Harry said, I think some stuff just has to get done during the day, and that might. I don't think that necessarily has to mean that you have to just skip the homework or do it sloppily or anything like that. I just think it has to mean that you prioritize the things you have to do during the day the right way to ensure they all get done. That's a very important skill that goes far and beyond tennis. It's just a lot.
Absolutely.
It's part of their schedule, isn't it? Can that be on a sheet that they've done the stretching? So they have to be honest. And how long? Yeah. When did you do it, or what time did you do it?
Yeah. That's definitely. I mean, the structure of the packs and like the way they look is changing ever so slightly, ever so often. And if it means that we introduce something like a tick box or perhaps a note section where they write down how they felt when they were stretching or something like that, then
But
yeah.
in the end, isn't their own body must tell them in the end that basically rolling and stiff. I need to stretch it out and move it out. It gets into them that that's what they've got to move it, stretch it out.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree with your points in self-management, time management. There are essentials to not just being a tennis player or an athlete, just in general life, you must be able to have those skills before you exceed and before you excel at anything.
You must see some kids in your groups who seem to come naturally with those qualities, and then other people for whom it's a different language,
Sure.
they have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
How do you reinforce that kind of skill? Do you point out to when you see the behaviours that you're looking for, that other people go, oh yeah, that would be a good example?
Well, in terms of time management, I don't see too much of how well they manage their time, because if they turn up at 4 and leave at 5, then for me, that's pretty good time management from my world. Sometimes you'll hear the kids talking about how difficult they found it to get here on time because of school, and you'll hear things about I went to bed really late last night, and sometimes they're avoidable instances, and I can say to them, get to bed earlier, get off your phone earlier, get off your laptop and stop watching TV earlier, have a good night's rest, for instance. I can tell them that until the cows come home, but I need parents on board as well to be able to help with that idea.
Because it's hard with the phones, and I have to confiscate it all.
Yeah, confiscating is one way of doing it.
I have to. Look at the old stop shops.
But I do agree that there are a lot of difficulties between the ages of 10 and 18 when it comes to managing time, and I don't think being strict strict and unnecessarily
I'm thinking
unhelpful.
also of what you're talking about, the sort of gritty behaviours that when they're working on things which many of them I'm sure find difficult, how do you help them to understand that it's a process and to appreciate that as opposed to looking for results?
Well, again, I think that's where the commitment continuum comes in quite handy. It's an extremely simple tool to actually show a player where you feel that they are, and actually for them to look at those scales and to look at those example behaviours and see where they actually place themselves. And if they place themselves low, then they can see there's a hell of a lot of ground that needs to be made in terms of how they behave and what kind of commitment we're expecting of them before they can start to think more seriously about being a full-time athlete.
So would you do that? Do
Do you do it on an individual basis? They take a player and say, look, this is my concern about you, or this is what you need to do? Or...
Well, it's one thing that we have done, well, as a team, we have done with some players. A lot of the time it's quite difficult to, always have that time with one player to sit them down and to talk about where they think they are, where the coaching team think they are. And like with the wellness sheets and with the exercise video library, it's one thing that I really, really want to be pushing as much as possible. I mean, those sheets you can take away with you, but one thing I'd very much like to do, there's a lot of talk about getting like inspirational quotes put up all over the building, and like people thinking that if they see this inspirational quote, the kids will look at it and go, wow, I really want to be just like that person who said that thing. And in actual fact, I think sometimes those kind of words, they skim over people's heads. If you can actually place someone on a scale to see exactly where they are in terms of their own behaviour, then it's a much more powerful way of doing things, and it's a much simpler way of doing things as well.
I'm wondering if you need almost like a parents' evening. You take a child and you have 10 minutes with the parent and the child and say, look, this is what we're working on or whatever, because John doesn't talk half the time anyway, so I have no idea. I drop him off, he does his thing and he says that was fine, and that's his sort of standard thing, so I don't know actually. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I totally understand.
Issues, or
And
you think you should be encouraging with this.
yeah, I totally understand. I think that comes back down to communication between parents and coaches. And although I would love very much to have a parents' evening, have another excuse to drag you all here one evening, I don't think there's anything wrong